Hi, I'm Nicole Goode and I'm the founder of the Goode Health Clinic. I'm a functional medicine practitioner and a registered nutritional therapist, and I'm here to talk to you today about the importance of nutrition and the benefits of that on hypertension, and how you can live a healthier lifestyle, generally help prevent and bring down your blood pressure with some really simple dietary changes. And I'm going to give you today my 5 top tips to improve your diet to support hypertension and help you live a healthier lifestyle. But first of all, let's look at why this is important. So Stroke UK has cited that hypertension, that's your high blood pressure, is a leading cause of lifestyle factors that are related to brain hemorrhages. So it's really important, first of all, to check your blood pressure. Make sure you know what your figures are, where your baseline is, where you normally stand, so that you can check whether it's going up, staying the same, or lowering. And secondly, what we want to do is manage that blood pressure. So make sure we're doing that through all the lifestyle factors that have been implicated in high blood pressure. And high blood pressure has been linked to things like being overweight, eating too much salt, not doing enough exercise, lots of stress, drinking, smoking. All of these things have been shown to have a negative impact on our blood pressure. And dietary changes have actually been shown to reduce your blood pressure by as much as 11/5 within the scientific trials that we've got. So that's a reduction of 11 for your systolic pressure, so that's the upper figure in that blood pressure reading. And this is the pressure when your heart is actually pumping out the blood. And a reduction of 5 for your diastolic pressure. So this is the lower figure within your blood pressure reading. And this is the pressure when your heart is at rest between beats. And a functional medicine approach to hypertension is to consider your cardiovascular risk and other underlying factors that can contribute to high blood pressure. And this includes looking at your diet as part of the lifestyle factors that can be used to create a really holistic and multifaceted approach to your care. So let's look at my top 5 nutrition tips for hypertension. Tip number 1, the general dietary advice for people with high blood pressure is to eat a diet which is high in veg and fruit, reducing dairy, eating whole grains, poultry, fish, nuts, and seeds. So by doing this, what we're aiming to do is actually increase nutrients such as potassium, magnesium, and calcium in the diet, as well as ensuring that you've got enough protein and enough fibre in the diet, while lowering saturated fats, refined sugars, and sodium, which is salt. So to make sure that you are getting enough veg in there, my really important tip number 1 is to make sure that you are eating 8 portions of veg a day and 2 portions of fruit. And the best way of doing this, a really simple trick to doing this, is to eat 2 of each colour food a day. So the food colours, really simple. We've got red, green, yellow, orange, the blues and purples, and the tans and whites. So we've got 6 colours of foods, and aim to get 2 of each colour in there every single day. And you're going to be really hitting those targets with getting the high veg and fruit content in there and hitting that 8 portions of veg, 2 portions of fruit. And that is my top tip number 1. Top tip number 2. We really want to make sure that you are on a low sodium diet. So this is a really vital piece of the puzzle in people who have hypertension. So as a general rule, what we're looking at is that the average person should have less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium daily. With hypertension, or if you want to avoid hypertension, we do see benefits from doing a sodium restriction. And this would be where you would reduce the amount of sodium that you eat to around 1,500 milligrams, 1,800 milligrams of sodium a day. So top tip number 2, eat a low sodium diet. Make sure that you're reducing those figures and even having a little bit of sodium restriction if necessary. Top tip number 3. So if you are eating a salty meal, it's really important to make sure that you are having potassium-rich foods in there as well. So potassium actually helps to reduce the impact of sodium and helps the blood vessels to relax. So we want to eat potassium in the diet anyway to support hypertension. So somewhere between 3,500 milligrams and 5,000 milligrams of potassium a day anyway. But make sure if you are eating salt, if there is a meal that has got some of that sodium in it, make sure you're eating potassium at the same time as well. And the foods you want to think of with this are things like lentils, squash, kidney beans, spinach, bananas, oranges, avocado, apricot. So that gives you a few examples, but you can search for potassium-rich foods online and make sure that you are getting those in the diet, especially if you're eating a salty meal. Top tip number 4. You really want to make sure that you are limiting your processed foods, because these really tend to be high in sodium, in sugars, and in saturated fat. So all 3 of the things that we want to reduce in hypertension. And the main benefit for people for eating processed foods is actually the speed and time-saving ability that we have with them. So really what you want to do is think about creating how you can create really simple meals, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I always say this to people, healthy doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need some really advanced recipe. Keep it simple. Make sure you've got plenty of that colour on the plate with plenty of vegetables, and add a really good bit of protein with your fish or your poultry, and build that plate up. A really simple dish can be really, really healthy, and that's going to really help you by simplifying things to avoid these processed foods. And lastly, as a kind of bonus tip, we really do want to make sure that you are lowering your alcohol consumption. So alcohol increases your blood pressure. We know this. So either restrict your alcohol if you can eliminate your alcohol, or definitely drink in moderation. Remember that every time you're having an alcoholic drink, you could be raising your blood pressure and increasing that risk of things like stroke and brain hemorrhage. So remember, first of all, really importantly, check your blood pressure. Make sure you know where your blood pressure is and make sure that you are monitoring it. Secondly, implement these 5 simple nutrition changes to help you live a healthier lifestyle with hypertension, or to prevent it if you're a person who's at risk.